I have done literally only two UN events. I was in the preliminary meeting for SCoPA before. So I would just like to give the people who do not know what SCoPA is, just a little bit of a foreplay as to what actually happens in the SCoPA event. So SCoPA literally stands for Student Conference on the Paris Agreement. You're probably wondering, what is the Paris Agreement? That sounds very Frenchy. Well, the Paris Agreement is what a whole bunch of countries, a very large amount of countries, took to sign, that literally related to them agreeing that they would reduce the climate change impacts that they would produce on the world. And so, of course, as Paris is involved in this, France was involved, and India was also wasn't there in the beginning, but recently it has also signed the agreement. And what we are, as a student member community and group, what we are meant to do is, well, figure out how we can change the world. So everyone says we are the future. So the only thing that we can do right now is make sure that the future that we make for ourselves is much better. And so this is a very formal meeting. It's not going to be informal. It is not. It's a very formal meeting, and it's going to be attended by quite a number of very important people from the UN, I'd like to presume. The UNAI, the United Nations Academic Impact President, might also be there. And of course, this entire event is being held by an organization called GEM, which is Global Education Ministry. And so I would like to tell you that this is a very put together event. And we, as Omega students, have been attending this for quite a number of years, for a very long time, ever since the first meeting was adjudicated itself. And so we have claimed quite a spot in their minds as one of the many schools, or the greatest school, I'd like to say. Yeah, the greatest school. And the president of GEMS itself, he always is very keen on inviting us to his event, this event specifically, and the other events that take place, because he knows the impact that we can bring about as students from India. And so what we do is we talk about climate change in India, not anywhere else, because globally we cannot vouch for them because we are not from them. But because we are in India, we would have to talk about India in terms of climate change and global warming. So if we were to talk about that, last time in the preliminary meeting, we had around, I think it was 5 groups. It was agriculture, how climate change would affect agriculture, water, and economy, and a couple of other ones. I seem to have forgotten. Please do forgive me for that. But we would have to research as to how climate change has affected these in the past few years, and how we as Indians, as the community, can reduce the effects of climate change. So I was gratefully and just supposedly the leader of the agriculture team, and we got points together. So we talked about how people nowadays sow crop around the onset of monsoon in the early mid-June and harvest it mid-November. However, because of climate change and how rainfall patterns have been delayed, it just means that they have to delay the sowing of paddy and subsequently the agriculture, actually the harvesting. And if they were to do that, what happens is the nutrition that we were meant to receive from the harvest is greatly decreased. And the monsoon in the last 5 years, according to a report, has been delayed around 10 to 15 days in the state of Jharkhand. And the state has reported around 20 to 30% rainfall deficit. So what I'm trying to tell you is we need to back our evidences and our facts up with actual, real, like data and statistics. So as I was saying, so 10 to 15 days, 20 to 30%. We need to make sure that whatever we say is backed up by clear-cut evidence, so that people who hear us actually go, okay, he knows what he's talking about. He's not just a guy that's saying things out of his mouth. And he has facts that can actually put things right. And so, what I want from everyone, or what everyone wants, is solutions for, for these climate change induced problems. And in the end, we get to talk about solutions. So, we get to talk about, let's say, all these things.
And you
So,
have 1 more minute time.
yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, as I was from the agriculture team, we were talking about how we can apply different irrigation techniques to better reduce climate change or to reduce the burning of crops because all the wastes that are generated from these crops because the burning from these crops actually induce a lot of emissions which greatly aid climate change. And so we as a student community, keep repeating this, excuse me, but we as a student community need to come up, we need to identify these problems first of all. We need to back them up with the correct statistics and data. And then on the third, we'll have to come up with the right solutions. This is what SCoPA is meant to do. That's all I'd like to say. Thank you, ma'am, for the opportunity.
That's beautiful, Aaron. You summed it up very nicely. Okay, so I guess all of you got an fair share idea of what he was trying to say, and there's just a small video of a little bit more into the subject. Have a look. Maybe that will give you a few more thoughts. And we're not going to get into a discussion of what are the topics that you're going to deal with today itself, because I will send you a few links, reading material, and then I want you to go through some more videos for your understanding of what it is. And just try to internalize all of these. Just don't jump into topics and say, okay, this is my class activity. I would like to just go and finish it up. What I might have to just prepare a paragraph and maybe I have to just present that and come out of it. So don't take it like that. Just try to internalize it a bit more, because what any of this that I'm going through, what it is coming to finally is, you as this generation children, you're going to be affected the most. Although our generation has done a lot of damage and the generation before us huge damage, all has been done, but more than the consequences that we are facing today, you're going to face a lot of it. And you, as being the senior most in the school, who are going to graduate out of school soon into colleges, you are in a prime time where you're going to choose what is it that you want to do. Even when I speak to my son and few others around me, everyone aspires to be rich. Yes, rich. You will have a lot of wealth, you will have a lot of things that will make you rich. But how about the environment? Think about that as well in a true sense. Okay. If you're going to get into good colleges, good place, you're going to go to the US, anywhere, European country, anywhere. But everywhere, this is one thing that everybody is answerable to. But we are a generation who have done it, we've spoiled it, but we are moving. We are not going to be around to witness what are the impacts. But you will be seeing it a lot. So think of it in real sense. I know this looks like a gyan to you, somebody trying to preach something to you. No, I don't want to do any of that, but I want you to really think about it. That's why I'm saying take your time, don't jump into topics. And Aaron just gave you a tip of it by telling you about agriculture, but there are various other things. So just go ahead, look at many aspects of it, and then we will have a rounded discussion maybe on Monday. Okay, so I want you to see two videos I've selected. Just have a look at them, and then you just give your thoughts, and then we will sum it up. Okay, and I'm not going to present it. I'm going to ask Arjun. I'm going to ask him to help me to present that. So we have two videos. Have a look at both of them, and then we will have a discussion. Please, all of you, make your notes. Take a book, have a paper with you, pen with you always, and just note down the points that come to you, or just words that come to you. Yeah, words will be brilliant more than sentences. Just write down few words say 2 or 3 words that come to your mind when you see this. Okay, then we'll have a discussion about that. Thank you. Arjun, can you present it?
Let's talk about climate change. People are calling it the
Arjun,
crisis of
full
our
screen,
times,
please. Full
and it
screen.
is.
Climate change.
Climate
Changes. Climate change.
But it's easy to get lost in this story. The science is dense and politics get in the way. World leaders are meeting in Madrid to talk about the climate crisis and how to slow it down. And they're under pressure from millions of people around the world calling for concrete action.
The empty promises are the same, and the inaction is the same.
So what exactly are we doing wrong, and how do we fix it? We're going to kick this off with some basic science, so bear with me, because this is important. Look at this graph. These are the levels of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere over hundreds of thousands of years. But this spike in carbon dioxide at the very end, that took off during the Industrial Revolution. We started breaking CO2 records in 1950, and we haven't stopped since. Why? Well, scientists say there's a 95% chance that human activity is the cause. We've been burning more and more fossil fuels like oil and coal, which release CO2, to power our homes, factories, airplanes, and cars. There's also a lot more of us. The global population has tripled in the past 70 years. And we're consuming more products from animals that release another pollutant called methane. So all those gases are released into the air, and when sunlight gets into the Earth's atmosphere, some of the heat gets trapped and the planet gets warmer. That's why they call it the greenhouse effect. But the concern is not that the Earth is getting warmer. It's that it's happening far too quickly.
But it's actually the warmest temperature on Earth since the last ice age, since 10,000 years ago.
The UN says that right now, our world is about 1 degree hotter than pre-industrial times. That's around the year 1800, which is okay. In fact, the UN says if we warm by 1.5 degrees before the end of the century, we should be fine. The UN even says 2 degrees would probably be all right. But again, the problem is speed, because right now we're on track to hit 1.5 degrees in only 10 years. And if we don't slow that warming down, it could mean catastrophe within my lifetime, and maybe yours too. And we're already getting a taste.
Climate change is here. Climate change is happening. We are well into the 6th mass extinction event.
Europe is currently colder than the Arctic.
More than 1,000 people being rescued just in the early morning hours of Sunday.
Millions of people are likely to suffer worsening food and water shortages.
The drought, which is now in its 10th year, is a phenomena that's here to stay.
We've never seen a year's worth of rain in less than 7 days.
Sea levels are rising about 3 millimeters a year because seawater expands as temperatures get warmer. Melting ice sheets and glaciers also add trillions of tons of fresh water into our oceans. People around the world are already losing their homes. And if things carry on, millions more of us will have to pack up too. Entire coastal cities could be underwater within 80 years, like Miami in the US or Osaka in Japan. Entire island nations in the Pacific could completely disappear.
Natural disasters becoming more and more intense, more frequent, with more devastating consequences. The dramatic impacts of drought in different parts of the world, all this is creating a situation that is a real threat to humankind, and we are not doing enough.
If 99% of doctors said to you, take this medicine or you will get really sick and probably die, you would take it. Who wouldn't take it? The problem is, at the moment, we don't have any medicine.
Now, there is a plan to slow all this down. Back in 2016, world leaders signed the so-called Paris Agreement. And the big pledge is to cap temperatures rising by 1.5 degrees or a maximum of 2 before the year 2100. So countries set their own targets on how much CO2 they emit. But here's the thing. 3 years after the agreement, global CO2 levels are still going up.
CO2 emissions have been going up the last year by 2%, so that's actually above the average of the last 10 years. So it's started to increase again, and it doesn't look too good.
In some ways, we're going backwards.
The United States will cease all implementation of the non-binding Paris Accord and the draconian financial and economic burdens the agreement imposes on our country.
The US, one of the world's biggest polluters, has pulled out of the Paris deal. Russia and China are accused of not giving themselves ambitious targets in the first place. Turkey and Poland want to build more power plants that use coal. And then there's the skeptics.
It's a political decision that there is man-made global warming.
Forced the computer models to say, aha, human influence, CO2 and other stuff.
The ground-based temperature data has been massaged to show an increase, but the satellite data shows no increase.
On the other hand, there is positive momentum. There's more awareness, and some countries are making progress. India, Morocco, and the Gambia have massive renewable energy projects.
There are different countries doing things successfully. So some countries are, for example, making all public transport free in the cities. What a great way to encourage people out of their cars.
But experts say what's needed now is an even bigger push to change everything about the way we run our world.
Business as usual has got to change. Politics as usual has got to change. In order to combat that, we have to change the system that has allowed it to happen. You can't have infinite growth on a finite planet.
And everyone can do that by, shifting to renewable energy, reducing the use of cars, use train more, cycle more, eat less meat, consume a bit more carefully.
So where does that leave us? Well, there's only so much bike riding and light bulb replacing that you and I can do every day. But the truth is that it's those everyday things that are going to change anyway. Even coffee could run out if farmers can't grow it. So the expert advice is that it's down to all of us to change our ways and shake things up, or climate change is going to do it for us.
Thank
If
you,
there's a
Arjun.
story
Yeah. Okay, this is a little older video. So now Joe Biden, actually from America, he's going to get back into the agreement. Okay, that's what it says. So children, I think that sums up a lot of things. So I hope some of you have jotted down some points. Now everybody is going to speak, not just one person. So each one of you take turns, and if you want me to call out names, I could do that. So let's start with Ashwin. Ashwin, are you with us? It'll be nice if you can show us your face as well. Turn on your videos while you speak. If you can't, that's all right, but it would be nice if you could. Hello, can you hear me? Ganga ma'am, do you hear me? Yeah. Okay, Ashwin, you can unmute.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, right.
Ashwin!
Yes, ma'am. So, from this video, I was able to find out that even with this Paris Agreement, the overall temperature still increased by 2 degrees. And since 1950, the amount of carbon dioxide has increased rapidly, and this could be due to, and this is all uh, because of humans doing. So this Paris Agreement started in 2016, and Trump decided to opt out, and now Biden is trying to get back into the agreement. That's what I understood.
Yeah, that's nice. Good, Ashwin. Okay. Rajiv, you would go next. Rajiv, please unmute.
Sorry, I was muted. Just basically told us stuff that we already know about climate change, like the Earth's getting hotter. We have a target of 1.5 degrees Celsius, and the Earth's become more and more heated since we started using a lot of fossil fuels and coal powered things. And then again, the protests that most people know about, and these COP 26 meetings that a lot of world leaders are, claiming to abide by, like regulations that they're putting up. I feel that personally, not a lot of stuff is happening in these areas, but then, yeah.
Yeah, I like the word claim. Okay. They at least claim, right. Who is this P? I don't see your name. I only see a P. Please introduce yourself. Hello?
We can hear you, ma'am.
Who is that with an initial P there? But I don't see your name reflecting. There's only a P there, alphabet P there.
Like Pushpa ma'am. PL is Pushpa ma'am.
Oh, Pushpa ma'am. Right. She's not around. Okay, Kevin. Okay,
Yes,
hi,
ma'am.
ma'am. I think your audio is not working. Right. Sorry. Okay, Kevin, you go ahead. What do you
Yes,
think?
ma'am. So yeah, based on the video, I feel like it's it's come to my attention. Like industries we don't expect to produce as much CO2 as I mean greenhouse gases, like the meat industry. Like on first glance, you think, okay, that's definitely not affecting global warming. But then in the end, the methane emissions, the amount of meat we consume has led to an increase, such an increase in methane emissions. And I feel like the change that the US has taken to come back into the Paris Agreement with this change of leaders is pretty impressive because now they're one of the biggest polluters in our planet. So and I feel like the appreciable steps India and Morocco have taken back to get back to effectively provide in the Paris Agreement is really impressive. So I'm looking forward to what we'd be doing in our in SCoPA. Thank you, ma'am.
Interesting observation, Kevin. Thank you. Let's move on to Suresh. Suresh, please.
Yes, ma'am. Alright, so then, well, whatever the video said is pretty much like very cliche and it's already like said over and over again between different videos and different times. But then the thing which I found concerning was that even if one country is like the major polluter, it still affects the entire world, such as like glaciers in different places start melting, and ice sheets as well. And also they also said that um, an island in Japan like Osaka and Miami might get immersed under the water and things like that. So even if one country helps or like reduces the pollution, it might affect the entire world. So that's basically it.
Yeah. Even if one country, actually two major, one is the US and the other is China. I think they are the major contributors to this rising concern in climate. Okay, that's a good observation. Shravan, can we have your thoughts next?
Uh, yes, ma'am. So basically, like after this video has just once again reiterated the facts that have been maybe we know we've heard it, but then it's not been in a long time been brought to our attention all at once. And I think what this video tells us is that I mean, in my view, the facts are straight. We know the consequences. I think it's time to slowly start working at the grassroots levels rather than making those really big changes. I think, in my opinion, the grassroots changes in that, especially in countries like India, if the small changes at the smallest levels slowly could lead to a good big change. And as far as the world is concerned, at the world leaders level, I think it's time to look beyond the vested interests. A lot of countries end up contributing to this global warming and increasing the rate of climate change because their interests are all vested. They all have their own separate interests. I think slowly time to look beyond it because ultimately it's the one planet. So that's my view.
Thank you, Shravan. Um, Akash, can you go next? Hi, Akash. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we need to also take responsibility through elections and choose our leaders wisely. So read what policies to have and see if they're actually helping with climate change.
Akash, I was just thinking nobody has come up with that point. The political, everything is underlined with that political thing, is what this video first mentioned.
I feel like it's not just politically, but also the people. Because the thing is, can I share my points now? If it's fine, I'll like turn on my camera too if you like want.
Yeah.
Should I just share my points?
Just
Yep.
introduce yourself and then go ahead.
Okay. My name is.
Camera as well. Good. Thank you.
My name is Pratignya, or you can call me Prati, because like the whole name's like a pretty long thing. So I'm in IGCSE. I'm in 10th grade now. So I feel like politically, U.S. and China are like industrially contributing to like pollution and everything. But with India, as stated within the Paris Agreement, which is one of the main things, India, it's not really the government, but rather the people. Because as the people, we can change. And like the logic behind it all, as like I've heard multiple people say, is that everyone does it, so why can't we? So it's actually just the people within India. So in America and China, as America is going to get back into like the Paris Agreement, which I think was really important and like was thrown out there, they're still in their industrial revolution, where China is not a first world country, but rather they produce half the world's goods, plastic, all of it. In America, they're a first world country, so obviously import and export would go through there, and they produce not much things, but they do produce a lot. So as for India, it's like rather the people, which is an important question that can be raised. What are the people doing to stop this? How seriously are the people taking this? So I do want to focus on India and the Paris Agreement, because I actually did have a question about, is India following it properly? And as the lady in the video got into it more, India's government is doing as much as it can as in renewable power sources, which is actually very important to the environment. But as we can see in smog in Delhi, I've actually studied about this in EM last year. The smog in Delhi has been raised not just because of the government, but rather how much our transportation release that emission of CO2. So rather, I feel like India also has a big play in it, not industrially or economically, but rather the people. So that's all.
Okay, Prati, strong points there. Actually, when Akash pointed out about that lining crops, right? Rajiv, yes, that's one of the major contributors to that, but there are others as well. So, Akash, what you were saying is about politicians. Yeah, not all politicians are good here, but for lack of choice, we have to vote one or the other. So, anti-incumbency works with just the two parties that are there. So, when are we going to stand up there and say we will take charge? So that was
because like the thing is, like the country is filled with corrupt politicians. That's really it. So like out of the corrupt politicians, we have to see which one focuses on agriculture. As people have to change by themselves, we have to see who puts the agriculture first, not economy and money, because we don't have that much of good politicians as for now that don't really care about the change of the people and agriculture. So that's really it. So.
Yeah, Prateek.
Ma'am, but isn't that like asking the people to choose the lesser of two evils?
Basically,
in the end, you are choosing an
One
evil.
minute, Prati and Aaron. I was just going to get to that, Aaron, as you have.
Yeah, because everyone was like, "Who are you gonna vote for this time?"
Right, because the thing is,
Stop. Now we want an introduction of everybody to go ahead. And what I was going to tell you is, what you have done is you have sparked out opinions of other people's, because your speech as such was pretty strong. So that was what I was going to say. You have sparked a debate now, because right in my mind, a debate is getting formed. Although we can blame it on people and politicians, both go together hand in hand, and many things we have to work it out together. So let's debate it a little later. But we will just have an introduction from everybody at this point in time. So let's keep it to that, Prati. Okay? Yeah, very well articulated. Thank you, Prati. Let's move on to, is that Manha?
Shri Mana is there. You can ask her also.
Yeah, everybody is going to get a turn, man. Nobody is going to be left out today. We'll wait for everybody to speak. Yes, Mana.
Yeah, yeah, so my name is Manha and I'm in IGCSE too. And from this video, I just wanted to say that like this video is really focused on awareness. Like I feel like not a lot of people are like, a lot of people are aware on this issue than like people were like 10 years ago, I would say. And like that's gonna make a big difference. But like more than like politicians and like human emissions, I think awareness is really important, because it said in the video, like the UN said that by 2100 it's okay if the temperature rises 2 or 1.5, but like they said that we're probably going to reach that in 2030, which is really concerning, and like everyone needs to know about this, because 2030 is like less than 10 years, and like we need to like make changes immediately and act really quickly if we want to see changes and actually like continue living in our planet, because we only have one chance, we only have one planet. And it's also kind of concerning that if like one country doesn't agree with like reducing their carbon dioxide emissions, it can make a very big difference for the whole world, because like one country. It's not like we're not all separate, we're all one. And that's very important because what we're doing is going to affect someone else in a different country because we're all, we all live in Earth. And I think that's just like very important. So yeah, thank you. Ma'am, you're muted.
Shri, unmute yourself.
Sorry, Raghav, can you speak next, Raghav? I think we heard Rajiv, we didn't hear Raghav. Is Raghav there? No? Okay, what about Arjun? Arjun, would you like to tell us something?
Yes, ma'am. So, I think we all understand that climate change is a very pressing issue right now, especially for our generation. This seems to have been increasing exponentially maybe 200 years ago, but mankind started 200,000 years ago. So, this is very pressing right now, and most of the countries do not seem to be taking this issue very seriously. Few countries like India, Morocco have been trying their best to combat this, but we are all developing countries and we cannot do much with our limited resources. I think the major powers like Russia, China, and the US have to set an example to other countries by using their vast resources to act on this. They should be the main contributors for the beginning at least. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Arjun. Ganga ma'am, is there somebody else who hasn't spoken? I see, is there some other name? I can't see it on my screen. Is there somebody else, children? You can volunteer, just unmute and introduce yourself and say what you want to say.
Sumin Han. Sumin Han.
Sumin.
Sumin.
Yeah.
I can see you.
Yeah. Good morning, I'm Min from Ivory to Students. The video was about the serious problems of climate change which everybody talks about. It talks because of increasing of carbon dioxide, greenhouse effect causes, and the temperature is increasing and it caused the sea level increases. The fact that island nations might sink within 80 years was pretty shocking to me. It also talks about what countries are doing for environment and what other countries did ignoring environment. Lots of factors about the global warming warns me about the environment and thinks more about what should I have to change for environment.
Ma'am, you're muted.
I keep forgetting that. Thank you, Min. You covered a lot of things. Thank you. And I think Aaron is left. Aaron, would you like to say something?
I mean, like I gave the introduction. Like, if it is necessary, I guess all I would like to say is climate change is something. I'm sorry, I'll just turn on my camera. Climate change is something that I feel as if we brought on ourselves, because I'll just talk about India. Even though I've only been here for like the past couple of years, I grew up in Dubai, and in Dubai, I saw a lot of emissions as well because there were a whole lot of things. But then here, I saw a very large amount of emissions, like much more profoundly more than back in Dubai, which I spent, let's say, like the entirety, the majority of my childhood. And I was quite surprised. So first time I landed here in India, I was going back home with my aunt, which and then we were in front of a public bus that kept emitting smoke, and I was quite shocked. I was quite surprised, to be honest, because I've never seen that coming out of a bus before. So I don't know if this is because of our infrastructure and because we are a third world country, or maybe it's because we as people cannot really adapt ourselves for change. Because we have been sticking to just coal and all of these fossil fuels, and I can't really imagine a future where we can switch to electric vehicles. I know Tesla is opening up a new a type of branding store in Mumbai, or is it? I'm not really sure where exactly, but I can't really imagine myself being in a situation where I would be behind a bus. I wouldn't see smoke, but rather it is because that is a electric vehicle or an electric bus. So I know people say democracy is by the people, for the people, and from the people, but then we ourselves are not, if the politicians that we put up there because of us, then isn't the fault because of us? That's all I would like to say. And climate change is
Rather,
something, please,
I'd
please.
actually like to say that I'm so sorry if that was kind of rude or something. Okay, yeah. I'm so sorry if that was kind of rude if I
No,
interrupted,
no, please
but
continue.
I just
Continue.
wanted to say that I feel like it's rather just overpopulation and the lack of technology because again, as you said, we're a third world country. We're like, whoa, wait, way back on technology. But the thing is, we're overpopulated, and rather overpopulation, it leads to a lot of overcomplications, such as the education system, which is really important for our younger generations, and something that our parents and like the industrial revolution, like our grandparents have said, is that we're here for a good time, not a long time. That's the logic behind this, basically. Whereas they kind of didn't think about the future because we can't think for the future. That's not really something that's in our capability just yet. So I feel like the answer to all this is like one of the answers to all this. I can't say it's all of it, but it's overpopulation, and overpopulation has led to like a lot of overcomplications. As India, speaking in terms of India, I'm not talking about globally right now, but India is an overpopulated country, and rather it's not about democracy and how the people run it. It's rather how our education system teaches and educates our children. Because if like these children aren't educated, like EM itself has educated me a lot in the past year about how like global warming has affected our minds and how it's been affected everything, and it's affected my mind too, where I want to think about that, I want to understand. But it's not a mandatory subject where some students choose to go into the economy and like understand money and like business and everything, when they should be focusing on health crisis, where meat has like emissions of like pollution and like methane and everything. But when that it's like a health supplement, basically. We need B12 vitamins. I'm vegetarian, but I know it has like a lot of health factors to it. And as living organisms, our first priority is always to think about ourselves. It's a natural thing within everyone. It's always a survival instinct to think about ourselves. So why would we think about pollution when we want to eat, when we want to survive for like health and everything? So I feel like there's multiple overcomplications to this, and it's like, it can all be figured out if taken time and really looked at completely. So it's all that. And I feel like politics does have a lot of play into this, where like it's not about democracy, but rather how politicians use their time on term. Because when like even like an agricultural kind of politician and everything, like they think about the agriculture, I'm not here for money and everything, right? As a person that's majoring in politics and everything, I want to major in politics and philosophy and everything. I feel like it's rather about the people, how we educate them as running for term, right? Let's say I was running for term. I'd want to educate on everyone on what happens, how we're going to affect everyone, not just us, but globally, because that's what I want to change. So we have to focus on that. How are we going to set laws and make people understand? Because if people aren't going to willingly just change for us, we have to give them that little push. It's kind of like how our parents treat us. They're like, here's a little push, you can go study now, right? And so if they don't
Don't
give
you think education would fix all of that? Because right now, I'll be
because the thing
honest,
is, right,
education is very bad in our country.
education is very bad. Yes, because the thing is, right, we need to, the thing is, like, we have multiple uneducated children, like children in slums, children in villages. They don't have the access to education. And my parents have told me this a lot, where they want to learn. They want to learn more than you, Prati. And I was like, that's not true, and everything like the everything in between, right? So how do we get those children to like be able to and like understand and educate? Where something in America is that public school is free, all of it's free until we go to college, and like we can pay. And private schools, obviously it's their own school, they run that, it's our own education. You have to pay to get into our school. While that works for Omega, I feel like these students should be able to learn for free, because education and knowledge is something that should not be restrained within our students and our younger generations. Knowledge is something
Yeah,
that
but
should be
here's the
universal.
thing. The quality of knowledge also really makes
Of
a
course.
big
And the
difference.
thing is,
Here,
what these
I've
colleges
been on Quora
Go
and I've
there,
seen this
and
one guy.
Prati, I think both of you are taking it to the next level. And today, what we wanted is an introduction. And yeah, I get it. I know you're so involved that you want to really give in those very interesting and thoughtful points, rather, I would say. So I think you will drive us through, no doubt about it. And keep going. I think this is the direction where we need to go. We need youngsters like you taking part in politics, and that's what I was going to say when Akash was saying it is politicians that we are talking about. We vote for them. So yeah, we do vote for them out of now it's lack of choice actually to what we owe our politicians too. So we need more youngsters like you who are more charged to take up such issues which are on a larger demographic and other fronts. Okay, very, very interesting thoughts from all of you. And many of you kept repeating this. This video is a reiteration, it's a cliche, and what we all know. Yes, it is the ones that we know so much about that gets lost in our mind so easily. Even for instance, somebody was saying that it's what we are going to do. It's only us people who are doing everything. It is we who have to change. But what difference are you making? Now, you can come out with anything small that you are doing. For instance, what I would do, I will say I will always keep my AC at 28. I will not come down for that. I would keep it at 28. It's a pledge that we have taken and we stick to it. And it's very, very comfortable, trust me. Okay, that's one. And another thing I would do is always make sure that I turn off the taps when I am brushing my teeth. It might sound so silly to you, but yes, I do it consciously, and that makes me more conscious when I get a plastic bag in, and when I take a bag, consciously take a bag, every little bit. When you try, you can make a difference. And I'm sure many of you are already doing it because, like you all said, this video is a cliche. We already know of this. But are you consciously making some changes within your house front? Think of it. That's why in the beginning I said internalize what you're seeing. Many of you might be doing it, I don't doubt that. But actually, what you're going to do now is a small thing that I'm going to give it like an assignment, very small thing. Not much of your time is required for that, but do it honestly. Like, you will be writing in something about yourself and what is it that you do that makes a difference, you think. Okay, a small paragraph stating what difference you think and what are your ambitions towards this, what are your thoughts towards this. Like, you all had a lot of things to say, so put it in a Word document and please post it to all those teachers who are here. We will send you if you want, I will attach these teachers' email IDs as well. And I will be sending in another video and a document. Please go through it. Then I will also arrange for a meeting on Monday. Before that, there's something else. I will ask the other teacher's opinion. And I want to say one more thing before I sign off. Now, I have written down one quote that stuck with me when I heard it a lot and I have read it before. You are either a part of the solution or you're going to be part of the problem. So, actually, you students, you children, you are actually in both today. We are part of actually the problem times, and we can't be part of too much solution. Of course, we in our capacity will be, but in the long run, you're going to have more of choices to do than us. What we have already done, we have done a lot of things, and like we say, we only have to look for chance of undoing some of the sins that has already been done. We will try that, but you are going to be left with both. So think a lot, then write that small thing also with due honesty that's going to make an impact. Okay, that is the small assignment for the day.
Be about tomorrow's meeting with Rain.
Yeah, I remember that, ma'am. You give your thoughts and then I will tell them in the end.
Okay, so children, I don't want to talk much about climate change. Everybody knows. But at the same time, it is also very important to know how it happens, the scientific aspect of it, the scientific side of it, how it actually happens. So find out a little bit about that. So you will be in a position to suggest solutions for whichever problem it causes, whether about agriculture or infectious diseases or water scarcity or flooding of coastlines or whatever it is. But first of all, try to find out how exactly it happens, okay, scientifically, and then how each country contributes and how individually we also contribute, things like that. So it was nice to see all of you were talking, participating, and giving your own opinions. So that was nice. And so I just want to know whether you guys are free for a meeting with Wayne or not, so that I can sign off. It's for too long for me to sit. So I cannot afford to do that. So everybody is free to have a meeting with Mr. Wayne Jacoby, the Director of Global Education Motivators, tomorrow. Shri, it would be, if it is 7:30 for us, it would be 9:30 for them.
Yeah, I made it 8, so it is 8 to 8:30, so it is 10 and 10:30 for them. Maybe they would get up a little late or something, so I gave that time. So tomorrow, children, we thought of 8 o'clock in the night. That's when it's morning for them, and it will be convenient for him. So if anybody has any issues with that timing, you can just send it out in the chat. Then we will see if there are those of you who miss out. Of course, we can do a recording and we can send it to you. So it will be better we have it tomorrow than postpone it to another day. So yeah.
Then Monday onwards we can have the meetings. So Srilekha ma'am will be conducting those meetings, and she will coordinate everything. All right. And maybe every third day or fourth day we need to have meetings, because hardly 20 days left.
Exactly 20 days. Okay, I think okay, Ganga ma'am, if you're going to sign off, I'm just going to ask Sridevi ma'am and Neru ma'am to give their thoughts, and then we'll just sign off for the day as well.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, dear.
Okay, you take care.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye bye. Take care.
Bye, ma'am. Please take care of your health.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Neru ma'am, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I'm so happy children are so involved in this program, and their comments and the way they talk. I'm so very happy that this is going on, and I wish them all the best, to all the children, all the very best. I mean, it's just not to be stopped with talking and just participating in the program. You have to live it. Whatever you say, you have to live by your words, and that's very important. That's going to change everything. Yeah. So, and truly, what Prati said, it is like the education system that needs to be changed. It's not only the children who are uneducated, it's all, even the education system does not give enough scope for people to understand following rules, taking responsibilities, and that's why I think these kind of programs, when children participate, it's going to make a lot of difference. And all the best to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Sridevi ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Shileka ma'am, for inviting and being a part of this. I congratulate all of you for your wider thoughts, children. So, as ma'am was also mentioning, change comes from within. Change starts at the first step. You need not have you need not target bigger, but the target should be very smaller, and the micro changes that you make give the macro effect in the globe. So your ideas, everything was really very good. I just had one thought. I don't know if it is crazy or what. Those children over here, just think about it. These days in this pandemic, particularly this year, we are in lack of O2, oxygen. So CO2 is what we keep releasing. So climate change, lack of oxygen these days, and release of lot of CO2 Can you make a kind of connection over here and find out, investigate or do a little research on where we went wrong? Why are we in need of O2 these days? Artificial O2. So just trigger. I don't know if you can bring something like this. No, it would take us to another level of thinking. So this was just my thought. If you can, if it makes sense, just go ahead. If there is no relevance, also let us know so that we get to know at least. Yeah, what the pandemic that we are facing is not. We understand that the pandemic we face is not due to climate change. It is ignorance of. It's just mere human ignorance. We can understand that, but still, I just wanted to connect it with the climate change. If you can do it, it'd be nice, I believe.
Ma'am, it is.
Thank you so much. Sorry, Srilekha.
Sorry, it is very much relevant to the topic. In fact, they have stated it also this year in the Paris Agreement that this is also taking its toll on the whole of the climate change. So yes, it is relevant.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So all the best, children. We keep meeting for the next 20 days and we make positive changes within, first of all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So, children, we will send you a message or I'll send you a mail to update you on what is it that's expected of you from today's exercise and also the meeting for tomorrow with Mr. Wayne. Just make sure you're available. Since none of you have sent a chat message saying you're not available, I assume all of you are free to attend the session. So that will be a good thing. I'll send you a meet in case he's available. So thank you so much. I think you all were very participative and impressive what each one of you have spoken about. So food for thought. So thank you so much. I will see you all either tomorrow or on Monday. Meanwhile, you will get the assignment as a mail. Please complete it. And we should also have some binding agreement saying that if one is not able to complete the assignment, you really must think whether you want to be in the session or not. That shows the lack of interest or the interest that you have. So please try to complete this and stick on with us. So let's do what we can do. Thank you. And if anybody has to say anything final, yes, you can say it. Or if there's nothing, we can sign off. You can just unmute and say bye or good evening. Anything is.
Srilekha ma'am, sorry. Pushpa ma'am's thought.
Pushpa ma'am is
Oh,
here.
she cannot. Yeah, you can type it out on the chat, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening.
Okay.
Good evening, Srilekha ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the invite in the first place. Yes, I was hearing all through, and I really felt one strong thing when you asked either part of a problem or part of a solution. I am sure right now they are all in the making of being part of a problem, part of solution. Sorry, part of a solution. And the way all people are involved in this, I can see them as not just policy makers, but implementers. Implementers of policy which is already framed or many new things which will be framed. And this is the need of the hour basically. So I look forward to many such politicians coming up so that I can start voting.
That means you're not voting so far.
No, this is, as you already said, lack of choice. I fully agree. So now when I see these students, I'm sure there is many more choices which are going to come up. And they are not just speakers, they are implementers as well. Okay. So thank you. Wonderful. Wonderful, everyone.
Because your name is not flashing. Why don't you change that P to Pushpa? It'll be easier for us to.
I'll do that. I'll do that.
Thank you. Okay, children. I think that's for today. We have now. I wanted to wind it up before 4 because I wanted it only a 45-minute meeting. But sorry, today it went on till 4. We will try to keep the meetings to 45 minutes so that it's easy for all of you as well. So if you are done, you can just say bye bye, unmute and say bye bye before you leave. That will be nice always.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye bye. Bye. Bye, Akash. Bye, Shravan. Bye, Min.